Yeah, no, the ones in the file, they were the same, they were in the same one.
Okay.
This is a separate one.
That goes with those.
Yep, the first two go together.
I will need a writing utensil. Oh boy, I wasn't expecting to sign anything.
Usually that's me. I don't like I have my, well, I don't have my spares.
Okay, you're on.
Very good, we're on. Get some unexpected signatures. But don't worry, I'm gonna send that one back to the other end of the table, because there's no signature on it, on the copy.
Just gonna go down to Kevin.
I thought Kevin had signed this. It's got 3 on it.
Kevin did not sign that one.
No, there's one I haven't signed at all. It went past me, went directly to Ricky.
These are, it's got 3 on it if you don't want, if you don't have.
Okay.
Actually, it's got, that one's got 4 on it, so we're good there. Alright, I'll pass that down, we'll start the discussion here.
Hang on
All
one
right.
second, Ricky, got one more.
What's that? Yeah, that's fine, we can sign those a little later. Alright, good evening everyone, we started at 6:30. Had a brief discussion with a student from across the street about science project tapping the maple tree in the common area over here. And we gave the okay, 1 tap just for a science and social studies experiment, so. Then we did a non-public under A and C to discuss the review process for the town administrator and the police chief, which brings us to 7:30-ish, 7:41, for a work session to discuss the solid waste ordinance discussion. That brings us to that, which has not been revised / reviewed since 1992. So I
You were
think,
around then, Tom, right?
no comment. So, I believe we were going to review it, and see if we need to bring it up to 2023. And see what could be done, could be added, could be subtracted, etc.
Excuse me, I think if I know how to contact this on YouTube, I'm gonna watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
I wouldn't blame you one bit, I really wouldn't.
Yeah,
I didn't think anything was gonna be on there, but John, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
yep. Don't forget your coat.
Yeah, don't forget your coat.
You'd remember probably about the time you got out there.
So,
Easy in the pocket, so.
so Ricky,
Yep,
town administrator had made a couple recommendations
okay,
in her,
What was a while ago? Yep.
yeah, a couple weeks back.
yep.
And,
As far as revisions or?
yeah, a couple,
Okay.
3,
Or
I think,
additions, I
yeah.
should say.
And I'm sorry that I didn't bring that, and I would just,
I
do
didn't
you have, no, that administrative report. So, what ended up happening, or what has happened, right, is that I think there's a line item that all haulers will receive and acknowledge understanding of the solid waste flow control ordinance and recycling rules and regulations. And then, it's signed and off it goes.
Mhm.
But, at least as far as what I understand is that some haulers haven't, they filled the permit out and this is the permit.
Mhm.
These documents didn't accompany it. So
Okay.
they're not doing anything wrong per se.
Because they don't know
because
about it.
They don't know about it, or they, and the document is so old that it's not applicable in a lot of ways, right?
Right.
So, I think from memory of what the town administrator proposed was that while we possibly redraft these two documents and assess whether or not we want to actually start enforcing the 100% recycling mandate, which is a whole nother document besides this. That was the document created in '86, I think. Okay, well, that's just.
That might be as old as I am.
Yeah, that's from talking to one of the creators, who was Jack Dearborn, sat on that committee.
Okay.
And that was created when we first went to a transfer station from the landfill.
Yep.
It was sort of,
It was all new at that point.
yeah, and I think
Big
it was in
transition.
part of the agreement to get the funding to build the transfer station.
Right.
There was matching. And so,
Oh, there might have been some funding? Oh, okay,
and
all right.
then you went that direction, right?
I don't know.
Well, according to Jack's memory.
Okay.
Okay, something
I
similar.
wasn't there. I couldn't
Something
tell you,
similar
Kevin.
to
I
that.
got some tenure, but not that much.
Yeah, so it's a pretty extensive project to rewrite this.
Mhm.
Or do we say that recycling is mandatory with our waste haulers? And if it is, what percentage of it is? I think that was one of the,
I
Well,
remember
this-
saying, I think
isn't-
70%.
Isn't this what you gave us? This is, it says
Well,
recycling right on top of it,
Well,
Rosemarys.
when you get your application, you're supposed to get one of each.
Okay.
And I didn't have this one, actually Kevin had it attached to something.
But I don't think the recycling rules and regulations applies only to the commercial haulers, it's everybody at this
Right.
point, quote unquote, right?
right. Well, the commercial haulers don't have a separate set of regulations. It's just how do they, so it's how do we get a reason, we don't enforce 100% recycling anyway. We
Right.
never have. But we've also established that we have, John, you can verify this is again, because I'm going from memory, but we felt like there's about 30%.
We used to be, I think the highest we got was somewhere in the high 20s.
So Beth has reported, based on the numbers that were, and actually Ben had too, is that we're seeing somewhere around 30% people that are recycling. And the EPA says that 70% of what we throw away is actually recyclable.
Okay.
Okay, household trash basically is what they take out, right? That number is unrealistic. I mean, you can't ask anybody to break their trash down to get 70% of it
Oh, no.
recycled. We don't even take plastic, which is probably a good 30-40% of our trash. So I think in the town administrator's report, which none of us have here, which would be awful handy, is that she suggested that would 30% be a big ask? So for a private hauler, if you have 10 bags, are 3 bags recyclable? So for, I mean, how else do we judge it? We don't have a scale, we don't have any means of seeing it, because we have basically black plastic bags, we don't know what's in it. So when a hauler comes in, does he see the attendant, and does the attendant assess that, yeah, that's a reasonable amount of recycling that you're bringing us? And do we accept, but there has to be, we have to have some way of enforcing it, because we have an ordinance right now that we, by law, I mean, by our responsibilities, are supposed to be doing this. We have a document, we have a permit, and this is what we've sworn to uphold, right, and enforce. So we either have to amend it or abolish it. But we don't even, like, for me, when I look at this, I could be anybody and come in and fill out a permit. I could live in Hoboken, New Jersey, and come in and once a week run the 1 ton up here with whatever I wanted to get rid of that I can't dispose of in Hoboken, New Jersey, and dump it in our transfer station.
Yeah. Well, I think it probably needs to be revamped, rewritten, added to, as we were talking about.
But who's gonna do it?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I think if we scan it, we have a way of converting from PDF to Word. I don't
Okay.
know what it exactly would look like, because some of the documents are funny.
Yeah.
where,
They just go straight for the wall.
we could try that.
Yep.
And then maneuver once it converts, we could kind of fix the conversion.
And get it to a pliable document. at
Right,
least.
because once you convert it to Word, sometimes all sorts of margins and everything
Oh,
else
yeah,
ends
they
up
all play,
everywhere.
yeah. What is the current commercial hauler roster right now?
I'm not sure.
I thought we only had two.
I think there's three. Me, Tony, and Scott Dunville down
Right.
the trash. section.
And what's his name still picks up? Jeff?
Oh, Wiggins?
Yeah,
Wigston's?
Wigston, he still has one.
I don't think we've processed one for him in a while.
Well, he has customers. He goes and picks them
Okay.
up.
Okay, so,
Okay.
But
So
does
four.
does he bring it to our transfer station, or
Yeah.
does he go down to Milford?
or H2O.
No, he's a pickup guy.
No, yeah, I think I don't know, I thought he moved to Florida.
No, and then, but then,
I don't know, maybe
Well-
someone else is doing it.
yeah, he actually,
David was picking up Jeff Wigston's during some winter, when Jeff's gone.
Oh, maybe that's.
yeah, I just saw Jeff. Jeff just stopped to tell me that he wanted us to take over to give him the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the culvert. I just saw him a couple weeks ago. So he's here.
He's around.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't really, it's irrelevant at this point. I mean, yeah, or,
I'm just asking what we're targeting. I mean, because
Yeah.
again, I think that obviously the bigger picture is the town, rather than I mean, you know, they make, the commercial haulers may account for, let's go with a high number and say 5 to 7% of the town that's contributing to the municipal waste. You know, let's not completely pull this out of dust it off, just specifically for them, but more broad into users in general.
yeah. Well, whatever we do for them, we have to do across the board. That's
Absolutely.
why this was
That's-
always adopted the way it was.
Right, and I completely agree with that. Now, my second question is, and this is a little off topic of this, but you did mention about the revenues of the recyclables.
Right.
What happens when those revenues turn? What do you do with that? The revenues turn into liabilities, and by that I mean, it's costing us to get rid of it, costing us.
Of course.
Then
And
what
then
we do?
have to amend it. Like, this should be amended that we're no
But
longer
to
taking
me,
plastic.
that should be on the fly somehow. Somehow that should be on the fly. Because it's not gonna be a year that it's good and a year that it's bad. It's gonna be a month it's good, 6 weeks it's bad.
So it could happen through notification.
Right.
We're
I'm
no
just-
longer taking.
All right, I'm not trying to blow holes in the ship here. I'm just saying that we need to be realistic as a board and say,
Yeah.
hey, listen,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, if all of a sudden plastic is charging us to get rid of it, then we need to alter the course.
Of course. And that would have to happen through notification, just like we notify the people that we put up on the website, we're no longer
Right.
accepting plastic, right?
Right. Just a thought, because again, I'm
Oh.
a proponent of recycling. The problem is obviously we have to think of it fiscally as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't have, I mean, it's, at what point does it become too expensive to recycle? You
Right.
know, and as labor costs are going up, you know, should we really be separating this stuff anywhere? Where does the single stream number work for a town like us?
Right, yeah, where's the cutoff type thing?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, and then the single stream, that's so much easier for the hauler because people can put it all in one bag,
Right.
and there it goes.
And it's recycled. Right.
Yeah.
And again, that's something
Yeah.
we need to explore. I just don't know how to get to that end, the end of the road there. That's
I
all.
mean, the ideal thing too, for these guys, because for the haulers, which I'm sympathetic to, is, you know, how do they enforce, right? So we're looking to enforce them. Then how do they enforce, right? How do they get their customers to comply?
Right.
And so it becomes really kind of complicated. I mean, in an ideal world, we would have a reasonable rate because they are providing somewhat of a service to different people, elderly people that can't get to the transfer station, whatever, is that if we had a scale, we could put them over a scale that was at a reasonable rate and be done with it.
Right.
You know, so that we weren't losing the money, the 30% of revenue that we might be getting from those recyclables. I mean, last year that we made $84,000 in recyclables.
Right.
We paid a considerable amount of money in labor and time and equipment and that too.
Right.
Which that number doesn't reflect, but.
But
it
that's a
is-
number that needs to be considered,
But
right?
it's a serious number, right?
Right.
So we can't really, in doing nothing, we're in part subsidizing the hauler's business, right? If they don't comply at all. You know,
Well,
we're just saying-
again, we're talking 5 to 7%, right? We agreed on that
Yeah.
number. So is it them
Well,
or is
I
it?
don't agree on that number, because I don't know, like, I don't know, what's the total customers and where? I don't know how many
Correct,
households.
and I only, I mean, we could probably figure that out somewhat quickly.
We'd have to ask them.
But we could ask,
We know the biggest one right here.
right here.
So I know like kind of rough numbers between just the three. So I'm at about 160, 170, depending on season and bi-weekly and stuff like that. And then I wanna say Scott's probably around 120-ish,
Okay,
130, and I know Tony is probably around 40 to 50.
so we're 350.
Yeah,
Ish.
roughly, that's for the, and I don't know what Wigston is.
350 households at 2.2 people per household.
3.7.
Yeah.
I just did 9,500 as a total consensus, census of
Well,
the
you
town.
can't do that because there's a lot of people that use H2O and other, and
Well,
you-
yeah,
without,
there's
without,
H2O's
without
got
knowing
another
what
100.
All right,
what
so
their clientele is.
it's under 5%,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. So it's even under 4%,
I'd say
Prob-
probably closer to 2.
probably 2%. So are we, well, I guess my question is, are we narrowing or should we broaden? Should we broaden the scope to the town, or should we continue to narrow to
I'd like to have
3%?
input from the interim DPW director.
Yeah, that probably would help too.
I think I agree with Kevin, whatever we do is gonna be townwide.
Correct. Right.
Can't just pick on 3 or 4 individuals and say, hey, you're
That-
not doing
that-
it right, you gotta do this.
That potentially make up
No.
less
you
than
gotta have the whole
4%
town.
of the
Yeah,
stream.
it's just, again, it's an outdated document
Absolutely.
that we have the responsibility to enforce,
Yep.
and we can't just ignore it because it's difficult.
Yes. No, I'm not
This-
saying we ignore it.
There's just no easy way around this except to say, you either draw that hard line in the sand and you say, okay, you guys have to 100% recycle because that's what the law says.
Right.
And this tells you gotta bring it in transparent bags and you gotta just jump through all kinds of hoops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, simplifying this document that a certain percentage of what you bring us is recyclable is a very simple solution.
Oh,
But
I'm not
will they,
denying that.
will they be able to do that?
How is
know.
it, the other question is, the enforcement method. That's the,
Yeah, well, that means that they have to pull in,
Do we
they
have
have to
to-
see the attendant, they, just like you do when you pull up to the demo trailer, and the attendant has to say, yeah, that's a reasonable amount of recycling. That meets the 30%, every 3 out of every 10 bags
Mm-hmm.
is filled with, you know, he's got enough cardboard or paper or
Plastic,
whatever
whatever, yeah.
to balance that load. That's that's an extreme simplification, but, I mean, we can write a 6-page document, but I just don't see how.
Yeah.
Oh, and maybe we don't need a 6-page document. Maybe we need a 2.5 or a 3-page.
But I think this was part of us joining the,
NRA or whatever it was.
solid waste
Oh.
to Wheelabrator.
Okay.
I think this was part of it in 92.
That we had to have certain verbiage.
That well, I think this was, it says where is determined in the best interest is to provide disposal solid waste through a centralized.
Yeah, Concord Regional
and
Solid
it
Waste.
entered
yeah.
into the agreement with Concord Regional Solid Waste.
Are we
Resource.
still in that?
That's where your trash goes.
That's where our trash goes.
Okay.
well,
I just didn't know if
so
that was
here-
still,
So here's the
So
question.
that's this, and then we
Wheelabrator as a company no longer owns that. It's a different name now.
well, that's what I was gonna say. In 30 years, has it changed?
Yeah, 'cause
names, I'm sure.
yeah, it's now Win Recycling or
Yeah,
something.
so does this hold water with the new companies?
I don't
Or,
know.
or is this outdated and needs to be recycled and started over? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I don't know.
It'd probably be worth looking into, see if if this agreement even still
Holds water.
applies to
Yeah.
that facility.
Where it's changed hands so many times. I know we're contracted into NRA via Wheelabrator, but I don't know if this particular document is still valid.
Well, it tells you what you can and can't put in your trash.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that technically, again, by, I think it's state law, the only thing that's supposed to go into our hopper and be brought is residential trash.
Yeah, yeah, right, residential
Not-
waste.
Yeah, not demo, not concrete, not animal parts, not all these
Yeah,
items that
that they list
not
off, yeah.
pathological, biological waste, oil
Yeah, I
sludge,
did s- I-
cesspool, you can't bring your cesspools there.
Yeah, I did hear that too.
Yeah, wire, cable, industrial, yeah,
Well,
I
we're
mean,
still a member of Concord, so why couldn't we just check
Yeah, I
with?
wouldn't lose that.
Yeah, well, maybe they have maybe they have a document
That's what I was wondering.
that has been revised, and maybe it would be more applicable to today. I don't know. It's worth reaching out and saying, hey, what you got? Right?
Yeah, 'cause Bill Herman served years for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his signature's lacking on this too.
Well, all of them are lacking.
there's no signatures on anything.
So with that, was it ever signed in?
I'd have to go back and look at 92.
Yeah, I don't know, because there
I
was just no
don't either.
signatures on it,
Yeah,
you know,
we have a lot of ordinances we found upstairs that are not,
signed.
yeah.
Three on everything?
Something else that I'm just gonna mention
Yeah.
is when New Boston transfer station guy first went in down there, however many years ago. They were right about where we are now. And look where they are now. I would make a suggestion that you ask him to come in here and say, okay, how did you get to this point?
Steps of progression.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he lives in town,
He does live in town.
yeah, over in
He
Columbus.
lives in town, so I mean, I would reach out to him, because
I'm good with that.
I've worked with him when I was up there, and it's a wealth of knowledge.
I'm
on stuff.
I'm perfectly okay with that. I think the more information we can get, the better.
So do we want to try to add him to our next agenda? Have him come in and talk to us?
Well, I think this is a great avenue now to talk about our schedule. And I think this board, there's been a little bit of discussion already, but I think this board needs to meet more often. I think we need to model, we have a lot of catching up to do, I think that's the best term. And I think that we need to meet weekly, moving forward, and make it, two official meetings still of town business, and at least 2 meetings of the month for town business, and 1 work session at least. I think we have enough on our plates, we need to do that.
So I would move that we meet once a week and that we delegate one of those weeks to a work session with the option to go to 2 work sessions if required till we catch up.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Well, I guess my question would be, is you said you have the two business meetings and 2
Yes.
work sessions.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so that's what you wanna do.
yeah, or, yes.
But we can keep the schedule as far as.
Should be flexible enough, though, if we need that 3rd work session,
Yeah, you can always add more meetings, that's not a big deal.
Yeah,
yeah.
so, all right, yeah, so it would kind of format of business, work session, business,
Work session.
Okay,
So we're prepared for the next meeting.
all right, is there a second on that?
Second,
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
yes.
Yes. I think we have enough work.
When are you
that we need to
starting
do.
it?
I would say next, as,
Next week's a holiday. We're not even open, the town's office not
okay,
open.
so that one's closed, and then we have a meeting after that, right? An actual,
27th would have
7th
been,
of March,
no.
yeah,
first meeting in March,
the
start at
fir-
10.
first meeting in March.
So,
That's when it would start off.
okay,
But I think we.
so,
When's vote?
14th.
Okay.
so if we're going to invite, for that next work session, we're going to invite the New Boston Transfer Station Superintendent. At the same time, we should make sure that these guys are aware so that they can ask the same questions
Yeah.
about how that is gonna,
All right, so do you wanna make it a public forum then?
well, it's a
Of
work,
some kind.
this is a work session.
Right. No, I understand that, but usually in a work session, there's not comment from the public, that's the only thing.
Okay.
So we can allow it, as a board, we can allow that, but I just want, just
Well,
want to clarify,
maybe,
that's all.
maybe what I guess maybe the way I would rephrase it is I would want at least representation. I mean, we're addressing the big picture, which is the transfer station.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That has been created by our taking a look at a very outdated document
Mm-hmm.
that is potentially not being adhered to, right,
By everyone.
by everyone. So are we going to table this until the bigger discussion? Which is what Jerry Corbett, or I think, I forget his last name, what he's gonna come in and talk to is not this specifically.
Correct.
But the bigger issue
Right,
is how do we become more compliant?
right.
And
Well, I
then-
think what we were talking about with this too is we were gonna, no one's gonna reach out to Concord, whoever it is now, Win or whatever, and see if there is a document similar to this that is current.
Okay,
And go from there, because I'd hate to re-engineer this and then find out it's not in compliance for what we need. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's really two different issues.
I think there's multiple issues at hand right now, and I think one of them is, like what John recommended, the second one is there a newer law-driven, legal mumbo
Version of this,
version of this?
updated.
Correct. And then, and maybe that document is only a page and a half long, and then we can add on top of that, maybe, but there may be narrative in there that we will be taking care of, things that we could spend an hour on talking about. I don't know, just saying.
Can I?
Yep.
I'm gonna ask the audience something because he seems to be most familiar with the haulers. The 4 potential haulers,
Yeah.
are they all residents of Weare?
Yes. Yeah.
So to avoid the potential of having someone come in while we're doing this, because I could easily see this
Oh.
taking 6 to 8 months to get,
We could
Worked out.
recognize only the commercial haulers.
but can we make, how do we prevent the individual that gets a post office box here in town, that shows up once a month with the rack trucks with the New Jersey tags on them, that's dumping God only knows what into our hopper? So do we move that, if we're gonna have municipal haulers in our town, they must reside in our town?
I would say reside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to take residence.
Well,
They-
you wanna
they-
be careful about that, because we used to have 2 from out of town that did a very good job. So I don't think you wanna limit it to just
So if it's a
residents.
business, what if, I'll use K&R as an example because they're here in the room. What if his business partner did not reside in town? Or what if the business was registered in New Boston or Goffstown or Deering or something like that, but he's a resident?
But the employee is a resident, and the
Does a
employee.
business have to be registered in town? Because it's a business that you're trying to limit.
Yeah,
So does a business have to be registered and housed in this town? Is that what you're thinking?
what I'm trying to limit is.
Well, I understand what you're trying to limit,
yeah,
but
is just
your question
wrongful
about-
dumping. And,
Your question about having somebody get a post office box, valid question. But does it make a difference really? Because if they're picking up trash from this town, it doesn't matter if Waste Management's picking it up. If they pay the commercial fee,
And
they can do it.
it would be hard to prove without cutting bags to find documents.
And we don't have the manpower.
We don't have the manpower for that. In the actual waste stream, to see if it's coming from our town or not. I don't know how you do it.
yeah,
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be I know what I used to do, but I think that would be a very good question for Jerry.
Yeah, yeah. How's he handle it?
I know that, I don't think he has too many commercial haulers go into his transfer.
He may
I
not,
don't
but,
think he does.
I don't think he has any.
oh, well, that's,
Pretty sure that.
that make life a
I
lot
know
easier.
My New Boston trash goes to H2O, and my Deering and Hillsborough and Henniker and all that goes to H2O, so I think my general consensus is that they run, commercial haulers weren't allowed in New Boston.
Okay.
Or do they have to go across the scale? And it's just not worth it because of what he
Well, no, I
charges?
don't, from what I remember, I could be wrong too, is I don't think that they're allowed to go there. I think they have to go
Elsewhere.
elsewhere to H2O and pay, which
Oh.
ends up being the same,
Yeah.
roughly the same tonnage per
Yeah.
price.
I mean, so John, back to your question. So I have an application that recognizes ordinances and regulations that have been agreed to, voted in, whatever, as part of law, but I have no way of preventing anyone for coming up with a $200 check and walking in and,
Correct.
Oh, you're not-
and buying one of these, because, I mean, technically,
You're not wrong.
because of my statutory responsibilities, I say, we don't have this under control, we need to stop until we do have it under control. That is my responsibility, because we are not doing anything to try to enforce a mandate, a regulation of our town. We're doing nothing. We've been ignoring it for a really long time.
But stop what? Stop what?
Stop the wrongful disposal of recyclables into our municipal hopper.
Of the town, right? Of the entire town.
No.
I'm confused, because I think we just shifted topics. Are we still talking commercial?
Yeah,
Okay.
but this is the document before us.
I understand that. So am I right in understanding that your question is, do we just stop all commercial deliveries until we get this? Or commercial
Well,
hauling until we get this?
I say,
all
let
solved?
me, or we accept no, let me put it this way, maybe this is an easier way around it. We accept no new haulers
I would go with that. I would go with that we accept no new applications.
Yeah,
until
'cause
we
I don't
have
want,
this.
I don't want to
recyc-
adversely affect somebody's business just on a
Oh,
whim.
no, either
On a
do I,
whim.
either do
Yeah.
I. But at the same time, I mean, I witnessed and I reported it to my fellow board members in conversation and town administrator. I'm sitting there and I got two brand-new Chevy one-ton dump trucks, dump bodies, full of black plastic bags with Jersey tags on them. They dumped it to our hopper.
That's when the people in that building should have been out there.
Asking questions.
Point
But
blank
but
asking.
that same guy who paid guys to make the 5-hour drive from Hoboken because it's a hell of a lot cheaper to get rid of whatever he had to buy a $200 permit in our town.
It's possible.
Well, we just saw last summer, we went from 133 mattresses to 13 mattresses a week.
Because
Somebody was running a business out of our town. Those mattresses didn't just disappear. Where'd they go?
There again, the workers, because I caught quite a few people when I worked up there. Because you get so you know the townspeople, and then all of a sudden, a truck shows up with a
Yeah.
whole load of demo.
and that don't look right.
Well, wait a minute, where'd you come from?
Yeah.
Well,
Start asking
I
questions.
brought this out of Concord, and I stopped at Dunbat, and they wouldn't let me dump it. I said, what are you doing here? He was, I'm not gonna let you dump it either. Well, you're cheap. Bye.
Right.
It's up to the workers.
The attendance.
This board can't,
It's up to the attendance.
Again, it
It's up
goes
to the
back to
workers.
the statement I made earlier. We need to make sure the interim director is involved in these conversations.
I would agree. Yeah. The other thing is too, is I would say no new, but our current can renew if their application's coming up.
Yeah, grandfathered for now.
For the
Fair
moment.
enough.
Right.
Fair enough,
Yeah,
while
no-
we decide what is reasonable.
Correct.
So that we don't, again, the idea isn't to put these guys out of business. The idea is to somehow get a set of regulations that we can comply with.
But like you said too, is also giving some transition time for their customers to comply and for the townspeople to comply, right?
Exactly.
Because we took a hard shift in the COVID times with plastic, and it's not gonna be an overnight switch, start again. It's gonna be a long sweep to get it back to a level of, where we wanna be.
Yeah,
Or where we even were, I should say, not where we wanna be, but where we were.
right. So can I ask another question of our guest? So Killian, what do you think, I mean, some of your customers don't want to recycle,
Yeah.
right? They just just don't want to. And then, but what percentage of your customers do you think would be
In favor.
In
that
favor?
goes- So I bring 3, depending, if it's Christmas, it's a lot more, but usually 3 or 4 loads to H2O, depending on what part of town, side of town I'm in, because it's, by the
You're
time I
there.
pay them for me to drive all the way to dump there, you know what I mean? So I only bring 1, maybe 2 loads a week to the transfer station, and I actually was talking to Frank, and he came out, and he looks at everything, and I talked to him quite a bit, and he says, like, you're right around like that 30 you were talking about, 30%, and everything.
So he may
like
already be
that.
there.
Usually it's a lot of cardboard, and stuff like that, but I do have people that recycle glass and do the whole recycling and everything, and which is fine, because I take that stuff and I put it right in my truck bed. So then I stop at the
It's e-
recycling.
it's
throw it
easy
in
to
my truck
separate,
bed,
yeah.
and we go. So I'm looking at it when it, per stop.
So just so, I mean, for food for thought for us, so you don't see a 30% number being unrealistic?
No. I
Okay.
think that's pretty.
Pretty
I think that's
reasonable.
super fair, and
Okay.
I honestly think we probably all do that and some more.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So,
right, that's good to know.
That's
Thanks,
right
that's,
around where you are. My thing was so are we gonna permit, like, can I get a permit now? How much am I paying? I'm
oh
just
no,
trying to
nothing,
know-
nothing's changing today. And again, if you already filled out one of these applications, you're still okay.
you just need to update annually and pay your $200.
Right,
a year.
exactly.
We haven't done any, it's
Okay.
23 right now. We haven't done anything.
Okay, so yeah, so I would say if you had a 2022, you're good to sign 2023.
Well, are we gonna make a motion to restrict any new applications for the remainder of the year to give the board the time to review this?
So moved. Is there a second?
Yes.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Just to clarify, we're restricting any new applications for municipal hauling to be dumped to the town of Weare
Correct.
for calendar year 2023.
Yeah, and we can overturn that at any time. If we get to a point where we feel confident with this, we can
Yeah.
overturn it
Sure.
at any time.
Existing clients are grandfathered.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
The existing haulers, right.
Right. So,
Yeah, okay,
Is the price is the price of the permit,
same.
same.
is it staying the same?
Not changing.
Nothing's
nothing.
changing.
At the
Nothing's-
moment,
That was my
Nothing's
thing, I was
changing.
like, I don't know what I'm bringing in, if I'm bringing in more, less, whatever.
But at one point you were an advocate,
200?
he thought it was too inexpensive.
I know, yeah,
Oh, no,
no,
I was like, raise it if you got to, you know what I mean?
yeah. No, because we're not in a position, like you said, to make a
this is
a drastic change.
broader discussion.
This is a very, very, and again, but I want to get more information than us just winging it from the board and
Yeah.
hoping for the best, that's all.
And it may be my paranoia that makes me nervous about wrongful dumping. I think people will take advantage of a system if they think they can.
There's always gonna be people that do
I
that.
think that's with anything though, honestly.
Yeah, but if it's out there on the street
Yeah,
that nobody's
Oh.
watching,
yeah, I get it.
we're done
think
with
so,
that
same too.
topic, by the way.
Yeah, so we move on to correspondence, other business.
Yeah, the other thing I sent you guys the library.
Thanks, Kelly.
I sent you guys the library contract
Mhm.
for us to, Kevin and I and Clay met.
Yep.
And we pulled this one together, kind of from a old one, plus the lawn care one.
Mhm.
I sent it out for everyone to look at, and then the idea when we were speaking was that if you wanted to authorize me to sign it, I would sign it, and then Clay would meet with the gentleman, have him do the initialing, and the
Mhm.
insurance, and everything else, correct?
I'd be okay with
I
that.
looked at it and I saw no issues with it.
I'd be okay with that. So, move to allow the town administrator to sign the contract with the chimney contractor for the library.
Second.
Move second, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we have to sign the agreements, right?
Yeah, and then I guess the manifest, if I don't,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that too.
I mean, where are we
Are we
with,
still under other business or correspondence?
Yeah.
Naomi, you received an email from Sergeant Montplaisir on the 9th, asking if we had heard anything back from Attorney Broth. Did we have an update on that?
We all received that email, right?
Yes, that was sent to.
Board members,
That was sent to Naomi, board members, Steve Arnold, and a couple other PD members.
I got something from him stating that he didn't get the red town council, that he didn't get the red marked up copy, so I did forward it to him. And I meant to follow him today and I didn't.
Okay. Could you reply back to Brandon?
You-
Let him know that we're still working on it? There was also an email from Chief Moore, I believe we all received it, regarding the radio East Weare Station, update.
oh, his follow-up.
Yep. Looks like still,
Still a
everything's
go.
up in the air on that.
Which-
He did his community action though.
Yeah,
I
he-
saw that. He managed to talk to, I think, 3 people that day.
oh, I thought there was more than that were contacted.
Oh, yeah.
Only face-to-face, 3 that day.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But there were many more, I guess, with letters left.
What about, that you said there was more after that? There was more correspondence on the radio system after that?
Oh, in terms of, there's still some discussion regarding, costs. There could potentially be some recurring costs now on Mine Hill,
Oh, yeah.
but they're still going back and forth on that.
Yep.
Due to some perceived holes in the zoning regs that probably be worth looking at next year, with the new board.
Yeah, just to fill them in, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I assume you all saw the email from the chief regarding, yesterday's police activity in town and the damaged police cruiser.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Just need to follow up, I gotta make sure somebody's filling that
Primex.
Primex form out.
Yeah. It'd probably be the operator of our vehicle.
Yep. We'll have to, you wanna let chief, remind the chief to do that?
Yeah, but that's gotta be done.
Yeah.
I will share, I did find the, so when he wrote, it said, I do not have the document that Brandon sent you with the parts in red. During negotiations, the town bargaining team agreed to enter an MOU regarding detail pay. As this is not a cost item to the taxpayers, the MOU can be implemented at any time and regardless of the outcome of town meeting vote on the tentative agreement. We agreed that we would not wait until town meeting to put the MOU before the board. It's up to the board to decide whether or not to approve the MOU, and if so, when it should go into the effect. So, but there was more added to the MOU than what was discussed. The 2 bottom parts to the MOU were part of the signed contract that we were going to do. There's 2 pieces of that. The last 2 items on that MOU
Are new,
are new. They're not part of
what we
what
talked.
Mark talked about. Now, I did forward the red
Okay.
one that we got, and I don't have anything new back.
So the agreement to do that, who made that agreement?
It was when we negotiated.
Okay, so it was
Because the
Kevin
costs are all,
Kevin Sherry,
What-
was
Kevin and
Sherry
me and
involved
Mark.
With
I don't-
negotiations?
okay.
Okay.
So when we negotiated, there was the 3 of us, and the MOU for the detail rate was discussed because all the expenses to that are on the one that hires us.
Okay.
So that's why, as Mark said, you could put it in because it's not a cost item to the taxpayer.
Right, where it goes back to that
But
vendor or whatever.
what was sent in the red and
It's not the same.
red, the black and the red is not just the detail, it had 2 things added to the bottom.
So then, based off of saying, if we took off those 2 items, then that MOU minus those two items is what you guys already agreed upon that we would sign.
I'm just saying that I sent, in the initial question, he didn't get the original red with the MOU.
Yep.
He now has it. I don't have that answer back with
Okay.
the red.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll wait till you get back to the red.
Yep.
Okay.
But that was the answer when I asked him the question about the MOU, do we do it now or do we wait till the date?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the answer was, no, we talked about it, it could be done, as there's no cost to the taxpayer.
Okay. When we get that response back from Attorney Brough, can we have a meeting to put this to bed? Because we're not meeting for another 3 weeks.
I have no problem with that. It's just gonna be 24-hour notice, that's all.
Okay.
It has to be 24-hour notice.
If I'm out of town, I don't know how I mean, you guys can do it, but I'm leaving town the 18th and not coming back until the 26th.
Yeah, I'm leaving the 22nd. I won't be back till the 1st, and then I got bereavement that I gotta take care of some things. I can do it remotely over the phone.
I mean, I don't know how good service is.
Okay.
The only other thing was that email, do you want to address that?
From,
The one we discussed that we were gonna get off. Do we have to go to non-public on that regarding our fellow board member?
yes, yes.
Okay, just a reminder. And the only other thing is, Naima, where do we stand with town hall?
Bids are due Thursday.
Okay,
So what I'd like to do, we had 3 people attend the site walk.
Mhm.
Bids are due Thursday.
Yep.
What I'd like to do is,
Award them at the next meeting.
again, I'd like to briefly meet Friday. I know that's
Yep.
not, I'd like to, so that you could look at them, get them started, because I don't want to wait.
Well, maybe by then we'll have something back from Mark too.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah,
Is
maybe,
to
yeah.
maybe wrap it all together,
That'd be
because I
good.
would
That'd
like
be
to
great.
meet Friday.
Mhm.
I'm not leaving till Saturday morning, but
That'd be
if we
great,
could meet together Friday, see the bids that we got from Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
the 3 contractors, because the bids are due the 16th, which is Thursday.
Right.
And then my hope was so we could at least get it moving, and then April's around the corner. March is around the corner as well. But if we could at least do it on the 17th. I'm just hoping we get 3.
Yeah.
Keep my fingers crossed.
I did receive, all set?
yeah,
Okay. I did receive an email from a resident, I have not responded yet, because I knew we were having this conversation tonight, about, when we are planning on starting, plastic recycling again.
I think that's a discussion you could have with the interim and everybody else,
Okay,
right?
all right. I just wanted to kinda get a sense and pulse of the board before I
It's just, I'm
responded.
sorry, I didn't
I'm
mean to
not,
jump in.
I don't know where the numbers are, if it makes
It's-
financial sense to do it.
It's not good at all from what I've been
Okay.
reading and
I mean,
everything I can get
I'll come
into.
back with an email and I'll put you all on it. I just, like I said, I just wanted you guys to know I didn't reply for the fact of I didn't know where we were headed.
there's still money to be made in 1 and 2,
Yeah, well, yeah, 'cause it's used in petroleum,
but that's the only.
but that's the only two.
the only
Everything
two.
else is no good.
So you could, but a fair, milk carton is, there's a fair amount of 1 and 2.
Right.
So that could be the consideration, is to at least make an effort.
Milk cartons and water bottles,
1 and 2 is
1
only.
gallon water bottle type thing. Yeah,
But they would have to separate, we wouldn't hand separate.
no, we
You
couldn't,
bring us 1 and 2.
yeah.
Because,
And I think that's the way it was anyways, it was 1 and 2.
no, it was always all of it. They had to
All in
sort
one.
it.
Plastic went on the table, we separated, 1's in that one, 2's in that one,
Oh, no, we
3's in
can't,
it, everything else went in the trash.
we can't be doing that. We don't have enough
They're
manpower.
gonna say Pete on it.
But we can't
I
can't
see.
start any of that until, for at least 2 or 3 months, until we get those balers fixed.
Oh, absolutely, right, yep. All right, I do have a couple
I
other
don't know,
things.
Yeah, we'll have to get an update on the
Yeah.
balers. I don't know.
Yeah, one needs to be under non-public, but I do have a couple other things. There was a discussion, that I had with, and I know this board's had the discussion, was, the mini split for the transfer station.
Yeah, when
What?
that got.
The mini split for the transfer station.
Okay.
Just wanna make sure that the wheels are still rolling on that. Cause we had discussed that
Yes,
months ago. And just wanna make sure that the wheels are still rolling on that, that's all.
I have to step out for a minute.
Yep, it's fine. So, just wanna make sure that that's still rolling. I know that, I'm hoping maybe that Friday we can also combine into, awarding, the repair for the hopper, for the compactor.
Those numbers are in?
The second number as well?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if we can get the second.
Okay, you asking me now, Jason, okay.
Yeah, if we can get the second quote together, and then we can have two of them to compare back and forth, and we can award one. I was up there Saturday, and they started activating it, and the pump sounds absolutely horrible. The hydraulic pump.
Yeah.
So, before we completely lose it, like I said, I'd like to act as fast as possible on that. Cause that would be bad news if that thing died. So like I say, it didn't sound good at all to me. And the third one is a non-public
Okay, you
for
wanna do your
personnel.
manifest? You
Yeah,
wanna
I'm gonna do my
manifest?
manifest, yep. So, I'm gonna, move to order the treasurer's signed payroll accounts payables checks dated February 16th. 2023 is including the following manifest, payroll manifest of $70,197.18 for weekly payroll. Accounts payable of $57,093.13. A supplemental accounts payable of $8.82 for a total of $127,299.13. As there's no selectmen meeting scheduled for Monday, February 20th, 2023, to further order the treasurer signed payroll checks dated February 23rd, 2023 is included, estimated to be about $80,000. Further order treasurer sign up to the amount of $90,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the board of selectmen by inclusion of manifest memo with the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes, and we'll put John as an abstention because he was not here. What's that? Okay. All right, I'm gonna move that we go into non-public under RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, A and C. Is there a second?
Second,
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Kevin?
yes,
Yes.
sorry.
No problem. Yeah, and we'll be adjourning afterwards.